What's up, fish tank people? Dustin's Fish Tanks bringing it to you on a Sunday with some fast foreground tips. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. In today's video, we're going to talk about foreground plants. We got the PHAT foreground plants, and we're going to give you some fast foreground tips. Number 4 tip, foreground plants are short. They grow in shallow water. They go in the foreground or the front of your aquarium, okay? They're short. They grow in shallow water. Shallow water has what? Lots of light. Foreground plants, generally speaking, need lots and lots and lots of light. Number 3, foreground plants grow in shallow waters. Number 4, number 3 is foreground plants will grow faster for you with nutrient-rich substrate. Think like a plant, think like Mother Nature. What's on the edge of a stream? Mud, dirt, muck, stuff that plants can dig their roots in and grow and take nutrients out of. Look at this. This is a skank tank in our greenhouse. The light has been off for God knows how long. You are not going to get this kind of incredible growth without good nutrients at the substrate, particularly with foreground plants, because foreground plants, unlike a lot of other plants, can't grow up tall and grow upright like the Indiana boys on the Indiana night. They got to stay low and short, and they got to get their nutrients down there, and they got to get lots of light. My number 2 foreground tip goes into a 5-pack for you. I'm going to give you my top 5 easiest to hardest to grow foreground plants. Are you ready? Number 1 easiest to grow is moss. Flame moss, chrysalis moss, peacock moss, spiky moss, flame moss, ricardia moss, you name a moss, it's the easiest to grow because unlike all the plants I'm about to list, it doesn't require good nutrients at the substrate. Most mosses like lower temps more than higher. They like a little bit lower light. They like a little bit of water flow to keep the algae off. Moss can grow in your toilet. It can grow in your foreground. However, it will make a hot mess for you. Moss is the easiest foreground plant. On to number 2. Number 2 of 2, Dwarf Sage. Folks, this is Dwarf Sage growing in a 55-gallon aquarium. This is an old school video of Dustin, probably a decade old, of the very first Species Sunday where I talked about Dwarf Sage growing in a pond, okay? Dwarf Sagittaria sublata. There's tall sage, there's short sage. Short sage growing is the number 2, only behind moss, easiest. I want to carpet Dustin plant. Dwarf Sage is your number 2 behind moss. Number 1 if you want to go and exclude moss. Dwarf Sage, baby, super easy. Now to the next one. And the 3rd easiest in my humble opinion, I'm gonna lump a few of them together here. I'm just gonna generalize and talk about baby tears, not dwarf baby tears, but regular baby tears, hemianthus. You want to grow that stuff. It grows wild in South Carolina against the shores in the low country, okay? It'll grow as a nice foreground plant, sends off easy runners, okay? Foreground plant focus, you wanna get your baby tears as your number 3 easiest to grow. Number 4, I'm gonna combo together. We're gonna talk about dwarf chain sword, Echinodorus tenalis. There's been some renaming of that. I'm not gonna get into that nerdy debate, although I'm sure somebody's gonna want to with me. There's also Liliopsis. Dwarf chain sword and then Liliopsis, micro chain sword. These folks, like a lot of nutrients at the substrate, love these plants. They're just not as easy to grow as the Dwarf Sage. And here's the last one. And my number 5, my last and my favorite plant to roll in the foreground, slower grower. They say it's related to hygrapha. I'm talking about a 5-point star, talking about Star Guinea Rippens. Kids on the street call it S Rippens. Star Guinea Rippens, folks. Oh my goodness, love this plant. Little bit slower grower. Heavy root feeder, likes a lot of light. Tom Barr himself says grow it in about this much water. Oh, we love us some Starro. Likes a little more water flow to keep the algae off it because it's a star grower. Those are my top 5, and now here's my number 1 tip with the foreground. All right, and my number 1 tip with foreground. This is up there with like the Cory cats cutting their barbells.
I want to grow a carpet. I got the 90-gallon aquarium I got on Craigslist. I got the light that came with it. I don't know what kind of light it is, but it's really old. It looks like it's older than me. I got some eco-complete substrate, and I want to grow a carpet in a 90-gallon aquarium. Can you help me, Dustin?
No! It ain't gonna happen, all right? It ain't gonna happen, okay? It's not gonna happen like the Browns beating the Steelers the last game of the season, then going on to the playoffs and beating them again and not firing everybody. You know, oh, wait, that did happen. Yeah.
The man himself, baby.
Browns is the Browns. Okay, 90-gallon aquarium. It's too tall. Inverse square law. Not enough light's gonna get down there, okay? You're not gonna get enough light down. It's gonna take a ridiculous amount of light to get down there. Conversely, if you had like a 20 long, it's a lot easier to light it. You're also not gonna grow it in eco-complete substrate. I'm sure someone who wants to battle in the substrate, you send me a link of your carpet with a weak substrate and weak lighting. I'd love to see it. Hit the like button, subscribe button, and tank on, folks. Later.